A massive explosion of flames tore through the quiet Colorado night. My phone jolted me awake at 2:47 a.m., and all I could hear were my neighbors screaming, "Your house is on fire." I got there by 3:20. Pure chaos. Firefighters scrambling, my beautiful 1920s Craftsman engulfed, and that thick, sickly smell of gasoline clinging to the cold air. Across the street, I see Bryn, the HOA president, sitting in her white Lexus engine running, just watching the blaze like it was cable TV. She thought nobody saw her, but I knew. I knew exactly who did this. Now look, I'm not your average homeowner. Name's Declan. 52 widower, 2 days a week. I'm the municipal court judge in our little town. The other days I fix up historic houses, call it therapy, call it penance, call it whatever. Ever since Iris, my wife, passed from ovarian cancer 3 years back, working with my hands kept me sane. Iris grew up in a 1920s bungalow, yellow siding, a porch made for sitting, wood columns thick as tree trunks. Every holiday, every summer, we'd walk through her old home. She'd point out every detail. This is the original crown molding. Here's where the light hits in the afternoon. When I found a near twin house in Ponderosa Bluffs, I bought it sight unseen. Didn't even haggle. The plan: restore it, then donate it as a safe haven for folks fighting cancer. I loved that house from the first day. It smelled like old pine sap, and memory's floorboards creaked at 6 a.m. Just right. That's when Bryn waltzed into my life. She showed up the day I closed, heels clicking like she owned the gravel. Clipboard in hand, tennis visor in January. No welcome, just your lawn is unacceptable. January. In Colorado. She whipped out a tape measure and checked the grass, declared it 4.7 inches, fined me $150 on the spot, handed me a violation slip. Perfume so strong it could strip paint. I tried to play nice, figured it was just the small-town HOA power trip. But 3 weeks later, I'd gotten 7 more certified letters. Mailbox wrong, shade of black dumpster, visible with a permit truck in my own driveway, even paint samples on the back porch. But my neighbors, their mailboxes, their trucks, their mess. No letters, no fines, just me. The day Bryn stood on my porch and said, "This neighborhood has standards. We don't want it looking like a construction yard for those people who flip for Section 8, it clicked. Wasn't about grass height, it was about me. February, I'm replacing the electrical panel, pulled every permit, hired a licensed guy. When the county inspector shows up, says he got a complaint about unpermitted work. He looks at my paperwork, then shows me the complaint photos, exposed wiring, frayed tape. Not my house. I'm fixing that mess. But rules are rules, so I'm shut down for 2 days. Inspector leans in and says, "Third complaint from her this month, different properties." She's persistent. That night I pulled every HOA meeting minute for the past 18 months. 3 board members had gotten the same violations as me, but their fines waived. Quietly. No explanation. I found out the HOA paid Bryn's sister's management company $8,500 a month for a 47-home neighborhood. Industry standard is $2, $800, maybe $3,000. Guess who owns the management company? And here's the kicker. Board members in Colorado have a fiduciary duty. You can't give contracts to family, can't profit off your seat. Break that rule, you're personally liable. I made copies, built spreadsheets, gathered receipts. Didn't confront her. Instead, I quietly requested a copy of the HOA's insurance policy. 11 days later, I found out it lapsed, no coverage. I printed 3 copies and sent them anonymously to the homeowners whose waivers were denied. Within 2 days, Moran, a retired teacher, and Gil, a Vietnam vet, marched into the next HOA meeting with all the paperwork. Why did board members get waivers but not us? Bryn tried to stonewall, but Gil just squared his jaw and called it favoritism. The meeting erupted. 2 board members quit on the spot. Then came the threats. Judges shouldn't play contractor. Someone could get hurt. Smelled like her perfume, funeral lilies, and Windex. But here's the thing. I'd spent 3 years watching Iris fight the one enemy you can't reason with: cancer. I learned that you don't flinch. You outlast. When someone's relentless, you stand your ground. March. I come home, power cord to my saw is cut, paint thinner dumped on my newly refinished floors, locked door jimmied. Deputy Caitlin says Bryn filed a report against me for threatening her at an HOA meeting when I was in court 40 miles away. Showed her proof, but without cameras, it's your word against hers. So I started talking to neighbors, showing them the math, the insurance docs, the management fees. Colorado law says if 10% of homeowners petition for an audit, the board can't refuse. I got the signatures, filed the petition. Bryn called an emergency board meeting, tried to hide, but with the insurance lapse, they caved. The audit was on, 60 days. That night, I found Iris's old sketch of her childhood house. A house should be a place where people heal, she'd written. And I realized this wasn't about beating Bryn, it was about finishing what Iris started. But if Bryn wanted war, I could wait her out. Don't interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake. Iris used to say that. Then 2:47 a.m., April 17th, the call came. My house was on fire. Got there in record time, smoke neighbors in bathrobes, firefighters just trying to keep the flames from spreading. The addition where Iris's old room would have been gone. Blackened ribs sticking up out of the ruin. Fire marshal said accelerant detected. Gasoline poured through the basement window. Neighbors saw a light-colored SUV leaving around 2 a.m. Bryn's car. No plates, nothing conclusive. Detective Ortega, who's seen every trick in the book, took my statement. Patterns obvious. But arson's hard to prove without a confession. So I filed the insurance claim, acted like I was defeated, started cleanup, and installed 4 hidden cameras. Motion-activated battery backup 4K. Single-party consent in Colorado. Left the house unlocked. 3 days later, motion alert camera 2 Bryn poking through the ashes, picking up a chunk of melted copper pipe, slipping it in her purse. The audit landed 62 days after the fire. 50 pages of forensic fun. Bryn and her sister billed for landscaping. That never happened. Ghost invoices, fake receipts, over $147,000 stolen. Bryn herself pocketed $38,000 in consulting fees she never disclosed. To move that money, she forged the treasurer's signature. The auditor included handwriting analysis. It wasn't even close. The HOA's reserve fund should have been $180,000. It had $200 left. I forwarded the audit to every homeowner. Within hours, the neighborhood exploded, emails flying. 3 board members resigned. The treasurer filed a police report for forgery and fraud. At the community meeting, Bryn's defense. My sister's bookkeeper made mistakes. We'll pay it back. Gil stood up, called it what it was. Felony. And through all this, Bryn tried to turn it around, mailed out a 4-page letter claiming she was the victim of a witch hunt, threatened to sue me for $500,000 in defamation. Even filed a judicial ethics complaint, said I used my judge position to intimidate the HOA. But facts are facts. Bank records check signatures. The investigation dragged on, but my courthouse supervisor told me you did nothing wrong, you're allowed to be a homeowner. Some nights I sat on my condo porch wondering if Iris would be proud or if I was dragging this out for justice or revenge. Morin showed up once with soup, said, "Sometimes anger is the only thing that keeps you standing." She was right. The next morning I sent Ortega the video of Bryn trespassing and tampering with evidence. He called, took it straight to the DA. A week later, Bryn showed up at my condo, uninvited, disheveled, desperate. Offered to step down, pay some money back, drop the lawsuit if I convinced the DA to drop the charges. I told her I'm a municipal judge, traffic court. I have no authority here. She cracked, admitted the fire was to scare me, never thought it'd get out of hand. That confession was on camera. Next morning, she was arrested at her real estate office, arson evidence, tampering, theft, bribery, criminal trespass. Used stolen HOA funds to post bail, so they tacked on another charge. The local news ran with it, HOA president arrested for arson and embezzlement. The whole town saw it. And you know what? The house got rebuilt. Insurance money. New additions. The room. Iris sketched the brass plaque on the entryway. Iris's house built with love, restored with purpose. Shayla, breast cancer survivor, moved in with her 2 kids rent-free for a year. That was always the dream. The house became a gathering place. Morin's book club, Gil's chess lessons, Shayla's kids running around calling me Uncle Deck. With the restitution, I started the Iris Fund, helping families in treatment stay housed, fundraisers, block parties. The thing Bryn tried to destroy, ended up uniting the community. Karma, I guess, is patient. You want a moral? Here it is. Justice isn't revenge. It's making sure nobody else has to go through what you did. Some people only stop when they have no other choice. Bryn had 100 chances. She chose escalation every time. But I look at Shayla's family, at the neighbors who actually know each other now, and I think maybe that's what Iris would have wanted, not punishment, but healing. So tell me, what's your worst HOA nightmare? Drop it in the comments. The wildest story gets featured next week. And hey, hit that button if you want to see more stories where justice isn't just a word, it's something we choose to make real. Thanks for sticking around.